The opinions expressed on the Brandon Lowe Show do not represent the values of Bristol Broadcasting Company. WBS Charleston, West Virginia, a Bristol Broadcasting Company station.
Right, let's turn it up. Woo. Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
Mike Patton.
Well, he was 15. He's a good player.
The officials were struggling mightily. I mean, they can't count to three.
I've been following Cam Newton ever since he played for the Ohio State Buckeyes, my number one college football team.
We got our kicked today.
No basket! No basket! No basket! Hoyas win! Hoyas win! Hoyas win!
You got Jared Porter in the middle of the field talking to everybody. Then when somebody say something to him, he don't even supposed to be on the field.
Are you ready?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the biggest show in sports.
This isn't Fart Talk Radio or anything.
Monday, Brandon Lowe Show 95, the Sports Box. You're out of work, Charleston. Time to talk some sports. Excited to be here with you today. Man, what a great weekend in football, right? All around. We talked about a lackluster week in college football for week 2 compared to week 1, and it is as far as matchups, but some surprises in there. And how about the NFL kicking off on the anniversary of 9/11? What is it? How many years are we at? 15 years?
Yes.
15-year anniversary of 9/11. I thought everybody did a great job of honoring those victims, and fire department, police department, New York, honoring those that went in there and tried to save lives. It was a great weekend of football all around. And we're going to get to all that stuff. We're going to get into the WU game against Youngstown State. Man, I was, if you're a West Virginia fan, you had to be frustrated through at least that first half. Tied at halftime. And yeah, they're a pretty extinguished or qualified as far as FCS program. They're one of those programs that go, okay, they're going to play pretty well. But to be tied at halftime, I mean, a lot of Mountaineer fans had to be like, what's going on? We'll get into Marshall's blowout win over Morgan State. We'll run through all the other scores to the top 25. In our breaking news, we'll have AP Top 25. That came out today. We'll have the scoreboard, like I said, throughout all the games, touch up on those. What a game between Tennessee and Virginia Tech at Bristol Motor Speedway. What an environment. When they would scan back, when they would pan the camera back and look at that stadium, I mean, it was beautiful. I was skeptic. Nick knows that. I was like, football game at a racetrack? Nah.
Yeah.
But it worked out great. And it was the largest attendance or largest crowd to watch an FBS game in the history of college football. They broke the record. Michigan-Notre Dame was the record when Michigan and Notre Dame played that night game in Ann Arbor. But, man, that's great stuff. We got a new banner behind us. Dana Farrell, the president of RSN Sports, brought us a new banner. So you might see that on our stream. He's actually going to join us at 5:40. He's going to actually announce those section rankings. Every week, they rank the student sections of all the high schools throughout the Mountain State and high school football. We'll have one at 5:40. He's going to announce it before he releases it on the site, so you'll get all the rankings. 5:30, Tom Bragg will join us and talk about the high school football around the Mountain State on Friday. Some great games on Friday. Nick and I were covering the high school football blitz here at Bristol for 102, YNL, and QBE. It was another great Friday night in high school football. And then at 5:15, you might know this guy. Stedman Bailey is going to join us, and I managed to talk to him about his new job, helping out with those wide receivers. He's back at school trying to finish his degree. He's not currently playing NFL, obviously, now, but we'll talk about maybe his time playing NFL, all kinds of stuff. Also, his recovery getting back after being shot in the head. I want to understand that process. I don't think a lot of us can understand the process of trying to get back after something like that happens. You can call the show at 304-344-9704. We are streaming. You can take us on the go at 95thesportsfox.com. On your TuneIn app. We're also going to be up on Facebook Live here shortly. I just got to get it up. You can watch us on our YouTube channel, so go over there and subscribe as well. Let's get our breaking news.
It's time for breaking news in sports, but it's still sports and news.
From the Brandon Lowe Show newsroom, I'm Brandon Lowe, and here's the news and sports. That's still sports and news.
All right, news and sports. Sports is still news. Let's take a look at the top 25 scores. But first, let's start in the Big 12, which, by the way, the Big 12 Conference really needs a big weekend this weekend. After a couple games this weekend, which we'll get to that Central Michigan situation, there was another bad loss as well. Texas beats UTEP 41-7. Oklahoma beats Louisiana Monroe 59-17. TCU, 15th ranked at the time, against Arkansas. At home, loses in overtime periods 41-38. That hurts the Big 12. We talked about that first weekend really taken away from Big 12's reputation. There are possibilities of getting that playoff spot. So far, the favorites of the Big 12 each have a loss. Those teams at the top of that Big 12 preseason media poll, which I told you I think those are garbage anyway, now have a loss. All right, moving on. Iowa defeats Iowa State 42-3. Oklahoma State, like I said, and a shocker, which we'll get to that play, losing to Central Michigan on that Hail Mary that never happened. Should have never happened in the first place, 30-27. It was still a great play, but should have never happened. SMU and Baylor. Baylor wins 40-13. West Virginia, as you know, 38-21 over Youngstown State. Kansas, this is another one. Ohio's a good program, but there is no reason why Kansas should lose by 16 points to OU, 37-21. And a shootout out west between Texas Tech and Arizona State where no defense was found. I guess it was left in the desert, 68-55. Their running back at Arizona State scored the most touchdowns in FBS. It's a record. 8 touchdowns, I believe. Look at the rest of the top 25. Alabama, no easy win over West Kentucky. They actually looked pretty good in the first quarter. It was only 10-3. West Kentucky was hanging a little bit. If you remember, Nick Saban went off on Lane Kiffin near the end of the game. He didn't like how Alabama was still playing. Don't you love a coach that's still getting after his coaching staff when they're up by 28 points? I mean, you beat USC 50-something to 3. You allow Western Kentucky to get 10. Either West Kentucky's better on offense, which I think they are, than USC. You got Nick Saban chewing out Lane Kiffin. 24-30. This is a game that was close. Number 2 Clemson, who moved down. The AP poll that was released today. Clemson, 30. Troy, 24. Another very close game that should never happen. Moving on. Looking through these games. Houston still plays well without Greg Ward Jr., 42-0 over Lamar. How about Georgia? Point out a 2-point win over Nichols. 2-point win. They're ranked 9th. I mean, there was a lot of close games this weekend. LSU made a quarterback change, by the way. Had a huge second quarter. That was also a scoreless game at the first quarter. Take out Brandon Harris. They have a huge second quarter for a 34-13 win over Jacksonville State. Again, struggling. Like I said, that Tennessee game, Virginia Tech, great atmosphere, great game. At the beginning, it looked like Virginia Tech was going to beat Tennessee. I was talking garbage about Ryan and how that's his team, Pritt over at Gazette. As soon as I said something, Tennessee in the second quarter, 24 holds Virginia Tech scoreless. That was the difference in the game, winning 45-24. All right, speaking of that Central Michigan, Oklahoma State, I'm sure you've heard about it. I'm sure you watched it over the weekend. I'm sure everybody's talking about it. But basically what happened, a MAC team in Central Michigan goes to Stillwater, Oklahoma, in a game that you think Oklahoma State should just pull away. There's no reason why Oklahoma State should allow Central Michigan this game anyway. It's 27-24. Oklahoma State has the ball. The period, they do intentional grounding, it's called. And the rule is that the period is not extended if the foul is by the team of possession, and the statement of the penalty includes a loss of down. Therefore, the change of possession and an untimed down was unnecessary. The game could have ended after the penalty with Oklahoma State winning by 3. This should have never happened, folks. Let's play that clip, though, of Central Michigan getting that Hail Mary victory.
Rush, stepping up, throwing to Kroll, catches the lateral. Here comes Willis. Willis racing to the end zone. Touchdown! Unbelievable! Central Michigan does it!
That's unbelievable. I mean, it was a great play. But it should have never happened. And because of that, Big 12 has suspended their officiating replay crew, so was MAC. It was a MAC officiating crew. By the way, Mike Gundy doesn't want any other refs but Big 12 or Power 5 refs after this. He says even if they play out of conference, non-conference games, I'm not signing the contract if there's not Power 5 officials at this game. And he said he's not trying to offend anybody, but he said the best ones will be at Power 5 level when we're playing these games. We need to use our officials, or we don't sign a contract. He's known to speak out, though. Remember, I'm a man. I'm 40. Remember that? But good for him speaking out. I'd be angry, too. And I know we don't usually say, hey, we can't go back and give him the victory. But in this case, it's almost like he could, right? This is the situation where you could go, okay, the rule was wrong. They should have never had to play in the first place. So if we eliminate that, we can now award Oklahoma State the 27-24 victory. I mean, I know that you normally don't do that, but it's on a different type of play where it's like, well, what if? But this, the play shouldn't even start. It shouldn't even happen. So how come we can't go, okay, well, the play shouldn't happen? Well, they don't get the victory. We need to get to Oklahoma State. Also, I think the playoff committee is going to look at this. If it comes down to Oklahoma State winning the Big 12 and possibly getting a playoff spot, the playoff committee is going to have to take this into effect. They're going to have to talk about this. Well, that play shouldn't happen anyway, right? It's almost like an asterisk by that loss. There should be, at least. New AP Top 25 poll, Florida State, Michigan, Ohio State all jump Clemson due to their only 6-point win over Troy. New top 4, Alabama, Florida State, Ohio State, and Michigan. Ohio State, Michigan right there with each other. Only 3 teams now left in the Big 12 in AP Top 25. I'm telling you, those weeks are hurting. NFL, like I said, great games. We got 2 great games tonight. A doubleheader for Monday Night Football. Pittsburgh Steelers visit the Washington Redskins. The Rams and 49ers in that late West Coast game at 10:20. That's going to be a good one, too. And there, I saw a bunch of good games. Packers-Jaguars was a great game. It was an unexpected good game. I thought the Packers was going to blow them out. But Jaguars have certainly improved. They put a lot of money in that defense. Blake Bortles looks great. He had a chance at the end of the game to possibly win the game for the Jaguars. The Packers held. It was a great game. It was the first game on Fox. It was fun to watch. You know, we talk about this boring preseason. We talk about what happened at the Hall of Fame game. But this weekend just impressed me in the NFL. Bills, I'll tell you who's horrible, though. And this is my rule, too. In the NFL, if you're usually horrible in week 1, you're probably going to be horrible for the rest of the season. In college, it's different because you have many different ages of teams. Or many different ages of players. So you're going to have a lot of freshmen on the team. They could lose a lot of guys. In the NFL, these guys can stay for 10-plus years. So usually the teams, you can tell right out the bat from week 1 who's going to be off. Bills, Bears, and Browns. And Eagles they're going to stink too. It was awful. I'm glad I didn't get that on my TV. Buccaneers with a 31-24 win over the Falcons. Bucs much improved. Jameis Winston continues to get better and better. He has definitely turned into and blossomed into a very decent NFL quarterback. Vikings-Titans was surprising. Sean Hill getting a victory for the Vikings. Teddy Bridgewater out for the rest of the season. So I thought Titans were going to take the win. I told Nick that, too. I was like, Titans are going to win. There's no way. Well, they lost 25-16. But what I know, I'm horrible at these contests, by the way. We're doing this NFL Pick'em over here at the office. And we're tied for 3rd right now, right, Nick?
Yeah, man. We're killing it.
With 5 other people. That's what
that's who we're tied with.
How about the Raiders, that 2-point conversion to take that 1-point win over the Saints, 35-34. Chiefs, I think they had the greatest comeback in franchise history, winning over the Chargers, 33-27. That was a game I was watching, too, because I picked the Chiefs. The Chargers, they're supposed to be horrible this season, but then I forgot the Chiefs never know how to find the end zone with Alex Smith. I was like, oh, that's right. They don't know what the end zone is. So the Chiefs get the victory, though. So that's some of the NFL stuff. That Giants-Cowboys game was really good, too. Dak Prescott looks good. Tony Romo has to be pretty nervous at this point. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we should have Stephen Bailey. We'll wait on him to call us. If not, we'll continue some of this 2 other stories and get to breaking news, and we'll move over to Marshall and WVU stuff. But wait for Stephen Bailey to give us a call. You can give us a call, 304-344-9704. Take us on the go at 95tosportsbox.com. This is the Brandon Lowe Show, 95 to Sports Box.
You're listening to the Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox. Be a part of the show.
Let the Valley hear your opinion.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Or the top sports stories, locally or nationally. On The Brandon Lowe Show. Call 304-344-9704.
It's Jason Smith. If it's almost a sport, we've got it here.
Let's just face facts right now. San Antonio lost. They lost to Oklahoma City. They'll get help in the draft. Are you confident that this team is going to be a team that can get to the NBA Finals, can get past the Thunder again if Kevin Durant is still there, can get past the Warriors? No. You have to tear it down, and you got to build it up, and it starts with Duncan, it starts with Ginobili.
It's Jason Smith.
Nights at 10 on 95 The Sports Fox.
The Ben Maller Show.
I know I can't do it like Ben do it.
Ben Maller.
It wasn't even the greatest punch in Ranger history. That's the unfortunate reality. Nolan Ryan got Robin Ventura in a headlock and delivered a series of noogies. He punched him right in the head. That is the gold standard in Texas Ranger fighting history. Now, Rugnet Odor gets a solid silver medal for his effort.
The Ben Maller Show.
Overnights on 95 The Sports Fox.
Let's bring in our guests on today's show. Jimbo Fisher, Florida State head football coach and the West Virginia native. How have these roots, being from a blue-collar state, helped you with your journey to becoming the great coach you are today?
You know, when you grow up in the state of West Virginia, you reap what you sow. I mean, we grew up out there on a farm. My dad was a coal miner, so we put in a day's work. Just the mentality and the culture of West Virginia of just going out and earning what you can and putting in a day's work, I think has really helped me in this business.
Listen to the Brandon Lowe Show weeknights at 5 on 95 The Sports Fox.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
I just like to say that y'all rock, man.
LeBron is the most valuable, if you want to have another conversation about that. I can't say you're the MVP. I'm fine with it. But then say, if we're talking about valuable, then we can have another conversation. No, we are talking about valuable. So he was saying Steph's the player of the year, not the most valuable.
Dan Patrick.
Mornings 9 to noon on 95 The Sports Fox.
Jim Rome, only on CBS Sports Radio.
David Griffin joining us. He's the GM of the Cavaliers. Is the MVP award for the most valuable player, or is it for the best player?
If V is valuable, I just don't see any way that there's a player that means more to our league or to his team than LeBron does or than Michael did. I certainly think the seasons that Steph has put together are historically good, but in terms of value to a league, I think LeBron is the face of this league just as Michael Jordan was.
The Jim Rome Show, noon to 3 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Show to this is J Moore Sports.
Yeah! This is maybe the coolest team ever. Now I'm rooting for the Texas Rangers. You got to name an Odor that punches you in the face. You think that guy's going to pick up a tab at all for the rest of the year, anywhere that team goes? And by the way, I got news for you. Between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Texas Rangers, I would way rather be a Ranger today. That's some solidarity, my friend.
J Moore Sports.
Afternoons at 3 on 95 The Sports Fox.
This is Steve Gorman Sports.
Russell Wilson gave the commencement speech at the University of Wisconsin this weekend.
Okay.
So here's a little sample of what Russell Wilson had to say.
And if you're playing New England Patriots in the Super Bowl and you've got 26 seconds left and you're down by 4 and it's second and goal on their 1 yard line, try not to throw an interception.
Wow, good.
That's pretty good on him.
Pretty
man.
strong.
Steve Gorman Sports.
Evenings at 6 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Radio. This is JT the Brick with Tom Looney.
Bob McKillick's our guest as we wrap it up, head coach at Davidson. What's the best part of your relationship right now with Steph Curry?
That he never forgets where he came from. He has got the spotlight on him. Stephen Curry takes that spotlight and passes it around to everyone who has been part of his life.
This is JT the Brick with Tom Looney.
Nights at 8 on 95 The Sports Fox.
It's Jason Smith. If it's almost a sport, we've got it here.
Let's just face facts right now. San Antonio lost. They lost to Oklahoma City. They'll get help in the draft. Are you confident that this team is going to be a team that can get to the NBA Finals, can get past the Thunder again if Kevin Durant is still there, can get past the Warriors? No. You have to tear it down, and you got to build it up, and it starts with Duncan, it starts with Ginobili.
It's Jason Smith.
Nights at 10 on 95 The Sports Fox.
The Ben Maller Show.
I know I can't do it like Ben do it.
Ben Maller.
It wasn't even the greatest punch in Ranger history. That's the unfortunate reality. Nolan Ryan got Robin Ventura in a headlock and delivered a series of noogies. He punched him right in the head. That is the gold standard in Texas Ranger fighting history. Now, Rugnet Odor gets a solid silver medal for his effort.
The Ben Maller Show.
Overnights on 95, the Sports Fox.
Did you get it yet? Your NCWV refi?
OMG, I have to get my refi rate.
Members Choice West Virginia Federal Credit Union has the refi rate that you've needed. Refinance your auto today with rates as low as 1.99% and applies to new purchases too.
What else?
We've opened up our refi rates on boats, RVs, and ATVs to ensure you get one heck of a low deal.
Now through October 14th, these low rates and refi ruckus are happening.
Refi ruckus!
Stop in to 201 Ohio Avenue in Charleston or online at memberschoicewv.com.
Loan subject to credit approval, terms and conditions apply.
Let's bring in our guests on today's show. Jimbo Fisher, Florida State head football coach and West Virginia native. How have these roots, being from a blue-collar state, helped you with your journey to becoming the great coach you are today?
You know, when you grow up in the state of West Virginia, you reap what you sow. I mean, we grew up out there on a farm. My dad was a coal miner, so we put in a day's work. Just the mentality and the culture of West Virginia of just going out and earning what you can and putting in a day's work, I think has really helped me in this business.
Listen to the Brandon Lowe Show weeknights at 5 on 95 The Sports Fox.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
Just like to say that y'all rock, man.
LeBron is the most valuable, if you want to have another conversation about that. I can't say you're the MVP. I'm fine with it. But then say, if we're talking about valuable, then we can have another conversation. No, we are talking about valuable. So he was saying Steph's the player of the year, not the most valuable.
Dan Patrick.
Mornings 9 to noon on 95 The Sports Fox.
Jim Rome, only on CBS Sports Radio.
David Griffin joining us. He's the GM of the Cavaliers. Is the MVP award for the most valuable player or is it for the best player?
If V is valuable, I just don't see any way that there's a player that means more to our league or to his team than LeBron does or than Michael did. I certainly think the seasons that Steph has put together are historically good, but in terms of value to a league, I think LeBron is the face of this league just as Michael Jordan was.
The Jim Rome Show, noon to 3 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Fox. We'll just continue to wait and see if Stedman calls in. But onwards with the show. You can call the show at 304-344-9704. Take us on the go at 95thesportsfox.com. On your TuneIn app and simulcast over at rsnsports.com. Speaking of that, at 5:40, we're going to have the president of RSN Sports Network, Dana Farrell, come on at 5:40 and announce those section rankings that normally they put on the website, but he's going to wait and announce them on the show before they put them up on the site over at rsnsports.com. I'm sure a lot of those fan bases are looking to be number one this week in their respective class. We didn't welcome in our DJ, though, DJ Madlock. Welcome in.
There we go. What up? Yeah, I was a little late on the news earlier because I was waiting for you to introduce me.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to hurry up. I was trying to get our Facebook live stream up. We are streaming our YouTube channel, so you can watch us over there. I was trying to get it up on your iPad over here, which worked fine earlier, but we are cursed once it hits 5 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. We're like the opposite of a Cinderella story here. Right at the stroke of 5, the problems just love to come in. But we're up, right?
That's right.
People
we are
can
up.
See you there?
Yeah, we are live. It says live. I don't know. Hopefully it holds, but we are on our YouTube channel as well. So if you don't have us on the Facebook channel, you can move over to our YouTube channel and watch us from that angle too. So, hey, multiple angles, multiple ways to watch the show and listen to the show. Good stuff. I want to get to this first before we get to the UFC thing. Obviously, UFC 203 was this weekend. I'll get to that here in a second. But Shaq, Yao Ming, and Allen Iverson inducted into the Hall of Fame. And this was great. I mean, the thing is, like, as soon as you talk about these players, they all have a different personality, but they certainly have great personality. So you were expecting great speeches from all three of these athletes, especially a guy like Shaq. who loves to be the center of attention. He's an entertainer. That's why he's on TNT as a NBA analyst. I mean, he has a lot of personality, and he knows the game, obviously, but he's an entertainer. So first, let's talk about Iverson. He delivered a captivating 31-minute speech. He was fighting through tears throughout the whole time. He thanked former Georgetown coach Thompson for saving his life. He also later said Georgetown, he left there only as a okay basketball player. Once he got to the NBA, Larry Brown, once I started listening to Larry Brown and take constructive criticism, I learned how much of a great coach that he really is. That's when I became an MVP. You got to understand, those two guys have a very, very strong personality. Larry Brown likes it his way. Allen Iverson, a lot of times during his career, liked it his way. So once Allen Iverson settled down and bought into Larry Brown, as far as a coach, his philosophy and things that they wanted to accomplish there, they did reach an NBA Finals, which they got swept by the Lakers. But this was a team that overachieved at times. Allen Iverson was a star. He was surrounded by a bunch of role players for most of his career. He never had that second or third guy that was what we see now in the NBA. But it was great seeing Allen Iverson. He said, "Man, I want to be like Mike." When he went into the NBA, he said, "I remember the first time I played against him. I walked out on the court. I looked at him, and for the first time in my life, a human being didn't really look real to me." I mean, that shows what kind of icon you really are, what kind of star power you have as Michael Jordan. When someone's in awe, they're a professional basketball player too. Seeing a fan take that in and see Michael Jordan, be like, "Oh, that's Michael Jordan," but they see a player say something like that about you, you are an icon, sir. I mean, that shows the presence that Michael Jordan had on the court. You don't have that anymore in the NBA. I mean, you might kind of have that with LeBron a little bit, but that's what you had back in the NBA then. When Michael Jordan came out chewing his gum with his hands on his hips waiting for the tip. That's when you're like, this is for real. MJ's on the court. I hope I don't have to guard it. Okay, Shaq, moving over to Shaq. His was punchline filled, of course. It's Shaquille O'Neal. He's going to have to get his jokes in and things, but he broke it down some serious things here. He did reference the Buick commercial where he said, "I knew I couldn't fit in it." He did those Buick commercials. It's funny because every time I saw those commercials, I was like, there's no way that they didn't take out the whole entire trunk just to get Shaq in there. You know what I mean? Like, he's talking about driving a Buick to the TNT coverage. You can't fit in a Buick, Shaq. It's hard enough getting you in a tank. Could you imagine also Shaq going to the airport and just hoping he doesn't get on that small plane with you? Like, obviously he's probably got a private jet, but it's like flying out of Jaeger. Everybody tells me they go on those smaller planes. So I can only imagine when he came here for the Greenbrier.
Yeah, that would be a funny skit. You know what I mean? To see him getting on an airplane and someone being like, "Oh, man." You're just like trying to see, hopefully that's not my seat. And here he comes.
So O'Neal referenced Luke and Laura from General Hospital and joked about his commercial endeavors. His speech had serious moments, though. He thanked his parents, Phil Harrison and Lucille O'Neal, for giving him the discipline and drive that drove the NBA dream. And then later on, which is something I think a lot of people still hang on to, is Shaq and Kobe, how great they were on the court. But the one thing they always hang on to is Kobe drove Shaq out of L.A. Ray said on the show, when Ray's in here, he talks about Shaq driving Kobe out of L.A. and how they kind of combated at each other because they got bigger than each other. Does that make sense? Like, Shaq became a huge megastar. Kobe became a huge megastar. When you put two megastars together, sometimes that doesn't work out. Somebody wants to be that guy on the team. And this is before superstars started saying it's okay that I'm not the star like Durant in Golden State. He says, "It's okay. I'm not the guy." That was before all that happened. But he says most memorable line came when he thanked former Los Angeles Lakers teammate Kobe Bryant. He's, quote, "Kobe Bryant, a guy that would push me and help me win 3 titles in a row. He would also help me get pushed off the team and traded to Miami." So he threw a jab in there. But he meant well. Yao Ming, the other guy inducted in the Hall of Fame. Gotta love Yao Ming. Had his own jokes himself. Yao Ming had a personality, and he was a tremendous basketball player, but you didn't expect Yao Ming to get up there and have a nice joke of himself. So let's play Yao Ming's joke.
When I heard that I would be the first speaker in tonight, I think maybe somebody made a mistake. Because I think this spot belonged to great Allen Iverson. You know why? because I need more practice than him.
Of course, that's reference to Allen Iverson's famous, it's practice. It's just practice. We talking about practice? So I like how Yao Ming threw in a nice little joke there. It's great. You know, those personalities, every single guy that got up there showed some nice personality. They showed some sincerity. They showed a nice joking side to them. It was great. So awesome stuff out of that. Do we got a guest on the line there?
Let's go ahead and take a break so we can bring Tom on.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break. We come back, we will bring on Tom Breck, talk some high school football from this past Friday night. Take us on the go at 95tosportsfox.com, on the TuneIn app, simulcast, and rsnsports.com. Don't forget, too, Dana Farrell, president of RSN Sports Network, is going to come on right after Tom and reveal those section rankings, those student sections across the state in high school football. Back after this, Brennan Lowe Show, 95 to Sports Fox.
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally, on The Brandon Lowe Show. Call 304-344-9704.
Show to this is J Moore Sports.
Yeah! This is maybe the coolest team ever. Now I'm rooting for the Texas Rangers. You got to name an Odor that punches you in the face. You think that guy's going to pick up a tab at all for the rest of the year, anywhere that team goes? And by the way, I got news for you. Between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Texas Rangers, I would way rather be a Ranger today. That's some solidarity, my friend.
J Moore Sports.
Afternoons at 3 on 95 The Sports Fox.
This is Steve Gorman Sports.
Russell Wilson gave the commencement speech at the University of Wisconsin this weekend.
Okay.
So here's a little sample of what Russell Wilson had to say.
And if you're playing New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, and you've got 26 seconds left, and you're down by 4, and it's second and goal on their 1-yard line, try not to throw an interception.
Wow, good.
That's pretty good on him,
Pretty
man.
strong.
Steve Gorman Sports.
Evenings at 6 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Radio.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95tosportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, welcome back. Brennan Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Fox. A lot of great high school football in Week 3 across the Mountain State. Let's bring on web editor over at GazetteMailPreps.com, Tom Bragg. What's up, Mr. Bragg?
Oh, not a whole lot, Brandon. How you doing?
Good, man. Outside of high school football, we had a lot of good college and NFL games this weekend as well, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, it's a fun weekend of football.
Let's jump into the high school stuff. Right out the gate, in Class AAA, Hurricane getting a 3-point victory over Cabell Midland. Hurricane's now 3-0. Is Hurricane for real? That's the question I really have been looking at. I know they're excited, but and this is a big win. Is Hurricane for real?
I don't know, man. Cabell Midland has left a lot to be desired this year. You know, they kind of got bashed by Spring Valley to open up. They beat what's increasingly looking like a not great South Charleston team. And then they lost to this Hurricane team who struggled early with Winfield. Not that Winfield's bad, but, you know, if Hurricane's going to be for real and a contender in Class AAA, you expect a little more out of them consistently. All that said, Hurricanes 3-0. They've got a big win under their belt with this win against Cabell Midland last week. And it ramps up for them now. I know they've got Spring Valley and Capital and Huntington all coming up here soon. So we'll see the answer if Hurricanes for real here in the next couple weeks. But I think right now it's still just a little too early to tell.
All right, moving over to GW and Huntington. I called for another Huntington victory. I thought GW needed to get their offense going early. Obviously, Billy Sills is about defense. It looked like Huntington holds off GW 24-18 in this one.
Yeah, I think maybe GW is a little better than a lot of people give them credit for. That's a really good Huntington team they went down there and just battled with throughout. And you mentioned it, defense for Huntington. They were able to kind of put the clamps on that GW offense enough to get the win. But yeah, I think Huntington's one of the best teams in the state. For GW to go down there to their place and play them as tough as they did the other night, I think that says a lot about a lot of good things maybe in the future for GW coming up the next few weeks.
Riverside moves on to 2-1. 2 wins for Riverside now. It's something to be excited for, I guess, over there for the Warriors. But obviously, they haven't got that big victory yet. But 2-1 is something to be excited about if you're Riverside, especially You think about that 24-game losing streak. So 2 wins on the season. You got to be a little excited for the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the breakdown of all the records of every team in Class AAA, there's not a whole lot of teams that are sitting at 3-0 or 2-1 right now. I don't have it right here in front of me, but I think if you pulled the playoff ratings today, Riverside would be a playoff team. Now that'll probably change as the season goes on, but yeah, it's a good story out of Quincy down there. Zach Davis has them playing pretty well.
Let's move over to AA. Obviously, a very electric crowd out there for that Herbert Hoover, their first home game since all the floods. 43-8 victory over Nitro. I think a lot of people expected Hoover to win this game, but just overall, what I was hearing from an overall electric crowd, I think the kickoff was returned for a touchdown, wasn't it? So it was like right out the gate of excitement.
Yeah, opening kickoff return for a touchdown for Herbert Hoover in their big return to their home field out at along the Elk River. So that got them off to a good start, and they had a long delay. I almost said a lightning delay. That was West Virginia State on Saturday. Hoover's delay on Friday was the lights went out. 3 of the 4 light towers went out, so they had a long delay there, and it was tied 8-8 going into that, and they came out of it and just kind of blew the doors off Nitro from there. Nitro's got a lot of work to do. I know you and I both like Bryce Castro, the coach they got down there. He's a good guy, but he's got a pretty tall task on his hands, it seems like, with maybe turning Nitro around the way things have turned around at some of the other schools that have been on hard times around here.
Yeah, certainly. As you mentioned, love Bryce Casto, class act coach. And
absolutely.
Like you said, he's got a tough sled trying to get that going. But I got faith in Coach Casto. I think he's going to get it going at some point.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm hoping. AA, Mingo Central, Sissonville. This was our game of the week here at the station because I wanted to see how real Sissonville is. Obviously, Chance Brown is an impressive quarterback. Mingo Central, as we've talked about before, is one of those teams that can contend for a state title. I thought playoff implications written all over this game early in the season, and Mingo Central handled it just fine.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty fair litmus test for where these two teams are at. Look, Sissonville is a really good AA football team. I think they're in the mix as a team that could be the second best team in the Cardinal Conference, or maybe even sneak in there and get a home playoff game in the first round as one of the top 8 seeds. But Mingo Central's on another level right now. They've just got waves and waves of kids. I'm not sure exactly how many they have on their roster, but it's a lot. Enough that you saw a close game at halftime turn into a 30-point win in the second half, and it was just depth, and Sissonville got tired, and Mingo kept coming at you. So Mingo's really good. I was actually at that game. I saw the whole thing. I'm very impressed with Mingo Central going forward, and Sissonville too. They put up a good fight, but like I said, they didn't have the horses like Mingo Central did.
Was there any game around the state in high school football where you jumped out to you? I know we asked you this before. Is there any game where you were surprised with the outcome?
Maybe not a huge surprise. Let's see. Williamstown in Class A lost to Marietta, Ohio. That one kind of jumped off the page at me. How about the plight of the Brook Bruins from the Northern Panhandle? They're 0-3. They play at Hurricane this week. Their first 3 games have been against Huntington, Morgantown, and University. You throw Hurricane in there, and their first 4 opponents are a combined 12-0. So the tough schedule for them up there, kind of just a quirk of the scheduling, I guess, got them. But they might, you don't know, they could have a pretty good football team because Huntington, Morgantown, and University, those are all top 10 teams. And now Hurricane, those are 4 top 10 teams to open the season. That's rough.
Yeah, certainly, and it's funny you mentioned that Brook team that we saw make the playoffs, had some nice wins last season, now 0-3.
They beat Wheeling Park last year.
Yeah, that's crazy to see where Brook is now. All right, Tom, we'll let you go, dude. Appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next Monday.
All right, I'll talk to you then, bud.
All right, Tom Bragg, web editor over at Gazette Mail Preps. Always good stuff, talking high school football with Tom. And I think we might already have our next guest, do we? A lot of good high school football around the state. There's a lot of good football going on, not just high school, college, NFL. It seems like I said, the level of competition just keeps getting better and better and better at every single level. And like I said, week 2 in college football this weekend, Morgan State and West Virginia being one of those games, it seemed like there was a lot of opponents that didn't fare well against some of these smaller schools. You thought that a lot of these would be blowouts. And, some of them were really close. And I think a lot of this has to do with underestimating your opponent, but I think it has a lot to do, too, with these smaller schools just getting better talent. because a lot of these kids, they're playing younger, they're going out, they're getting spots. You're seeing a lot of transfers, too. I mean, you're seeing guys, Marshall's got a ton of them. FCS programs like Youngstown State brought in a bunch of transfers. So, you're seeing a lot of games that are a lot closer than probably a lot of people expect. You look at that box score, you look at that final score, but, I mean, there's a lot of talent on some of these smaller schools, too. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I think we should have Dana Farrell, president of RSN Sports Network. We're going to reveal those section rankings for the website. Exciting time for all those fan bases across the Mountain State. See where you're ranked. Class AAA, Class AA, and Class Single A. Exciting time in football. You can call the show at 304-344-9704. Back after this, Brennan Lowe Show, 95 to Sports Fox.
Can I kick it? Can I kick it?
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
That's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally, on The Brandon Lowe Show. Call 304-344-9704.
Hey, Quad County, this is Brad Sang again with John Sang Ford Lincoln in Gallipolis, Ohio. Hey, just so you know, if you haven't heard, Fed is raising interest rates. You better hurry into John Sang Ford Lincoln soon because we have rates as low as 0% for 72. That's right, 0% for 72. Only at John Sang Ford Lincoln in Gallipolis, Ohio.
We got integrity, pricing, and quality service. John Sang Ford Lincoln Mercury.
Hey, Quad County, this is Brad Sang again with John Sang Ford Lincoln in Gallipolis, Ohio. Hey, currently we have our year-end clearance sale going on, and the selection is great, and the prices are low. So you better get in here as fast as you can. Or better yet, shop on the web at www.johnsang.com or give us a call at 1-800-272-5179.
We got integrity, pricing, and quality service. John Sang Ford Lincoln Mercury.
This is JT the Brick with Tom Looney.
Bob McKillick's our guest as we wrap it up, head coach at Davidson. What's the best part of your relationship right now with Steph Curry?
That he never forgets where he came from. He has got the spotlight on him. Stephen Curry takes that spotlight and passes it around to everyone who has been part of his life.
This is JT the Brick with Tom Looney.
Nights at 8 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, I want to thank Tom Bragg for going to break it down all the high school football action in Week 3 across the Mountain State. Of course, we'll have him back on next Monday, breaking down Week 4. And we always do our high school football blitz every Friday night, giving you all the scores at our sister stations here on QBE, YNL, and VSR with all your score updates. And speaking of all that stuff, you can get all that good stuff over at our partner, rsnsports.com. And right now we have the president of RSN Sports Network, Dana Farrell. What's up, Mr. Farrell?
Oh, it's Monday, and that usually means it's RSN section rankings, statewide section rankings day. Everybody's usually waiting on that, so we've decided we want to partner with you guys all the way. Let's make the official announcements right here at 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, man. Exciting. And this is a big thing. I mean, all these fan bases come out. They want to be number one in every class. I mean, in these
absolutely.
classes. So,
yeah, it's by far the heaviest traffic day on our website throughout the week every time we announce these. So it involves so many people. You think about it. Every school has an opportunity, and every student has an opportunity to be a part of it.
All right, well, the time is now. Let's start with Class AAA. Run through your top 10.
Okay, we'll go with AAA first then. We'll take it number 10 this week, Cabell Midland. A nasty night. Sometimes they could go by. It's a tough place to play if you're playing at home, but even on the road, they played at Hurricane this week. Always bringing a large contingent with them. Always going to be a formidable force. Number 9, Martinsburg over in the Panhandle. Martinsburg's been a factor both in football and basketball, great student sections all year round, but this is just a tough week in AAA. It was very, very competitive, so they got pushed down in that second 5, but you can always expect them to come back strong. Number 8, Hurricane. Hurricane had the home game, the big win over Cabell Midland. The Crazy Canes, as they like to be called, they're typically always strong. That's a section we've had strong with us for 3 or 4 years in rankings. A little quiet to start the season, but they came out strong this week. And number 7, a big contingent with Parkersburg, the Big Reds, the Insane Indians. They go by Insane Indians, and they brought plenty of pictures on Twitter, the videos, things like that. So they showed out really well up there and gave Capital all they could handle up there at home this past weekend. Number 6, Morgantown, and the Morgantown group was had a chip on their shoulder. They weren't ranked last week. We didn't have much info on them, but wow, they showed out really strong this past week against Parkersburg South at home, and they let us know, hey, what this look like for an unranked section. So they are in the top 10 out of the gate this week. Probably would have been higher if there hadn't been so much competition. Number 5, we'll go to the top 5, Hedgesville. A very strong team or section over in the Eastern Panhandle. They were in the top 5 because they showed out well, not just for football, but they came out for soccer and volleyball through the week as well. Number 4, perennial power, John Marshall. You don't think of the Monarchs being necessarily power on the gridiron year in, year out, but wow, their section's always strong. We've got a lot of school spirit up there. We went up there and did a show last year, having to play Wheeling Park, the rival, and it was great atmosphere. Number 3, perennial power again, Parkersburg South. The Southside Psychos, they go by. And those guys, they loaded up buses and went on the road this past week and showed out really strong at Morgantown. On top of that, they gave us a lot of info on volleyball and soccer that they attended through the week. Number 2, Wheeling Park. Wheeling Park up there did a fantastic job. They got hit by a torrential downpour during the pregame and the game, and they still kept the video pictures and things coming through the week and during the game, and so well earned for them. And then number 1, right here in Kanawha Valley, Riverside High School.
Oh, all right.
The Warriors, a big win on the football field over Ripley, 7-3 there on Friday night, but all week long, I mean, it just kept hitting us on our Twitter feed, and just really strong student spirit up there, and you can just see it culminate on Friday night. So, round them.
Yeah, I mean, the Warriors, when we're talking about Tom Bragg, they're 2-1. I mean, they haven't had, that signature win, but like you said, the fan base are excited. Coach Davis is doing a great job there in his second year. So, hey, honor goes to Riverside for number 1 in
winning
Class
the game
AAA.
that they need to win. And, you talk about these sections, and it is a lot of fun for the students and things, but, you've got a great school spirit, and you've got a great section, and your team knows that. You could arguably say it could be good for an extra win or two during the course of the season when you're playing those, toss-up games.
Yep.
And there's power in unity, and we like to think this is an important part of the sports atmosphere. Go to Double A.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's move to Double A.
Okay, number 10, Winfield. Winfield new in Double A this year, doing a good job, and so they're in the top 10. Number 9, Fairmont Senior. The Luke Park Loonies up there, they go by. And Luke Park they come in at number 9. Number 8, Bridgeport. Of course, they've always got a lot to cheer about, and the pit, they call that up there. Always doing some good stuff, and they're typically a top 10 student section. Right ahead of them, the rival, R.C. Bird, the Birdcage. They go by there. And they come in at number 7. I think the Birdcage was on the road this week, so they were down a little bit, but they're typically always strong, and we always think of them as one of our crazies. You just don't know what they're going to send or what they're going to do. the Birdcage. Number 6, Nitro. Nitro had a really strong week 2, and then they were on the road this week over at Hoover, where we did our show a pregame show for the tailgate show, and they came out pretty strong even on the road. Number 5, Sissonville. And I heard Tom talking to you, been over at the game for that week with Mingo Central. We're going to be out at Sissonville this Friday night with the tailgate show. And that's homecoming week for them, and it's usually several thousand people just for that parade. So it should be a great show. Number 4, Scott. Skyhawks down there. Team's not having a great year, but the fans are having a great one. So they're picking up the steam. They're picking it up for them. Number 3, Hoover. And we were over there. We got to see them firsthand, and that always helps when we can be one site, and we see what those sections are doing, and great for them. Their team's 3-0, come back from a lot this summer, and great to see them, have a lot to cheer about. Number 2, the Mavericks of James Monroe, down in the southern part of the state, came out really strong. That's a section that's done really well in Double-A with us last couple of years, and they travel well. The Purple Gang down there. And then to get number 1, you got to go all the way up to the other end of the state, to the top of the northern panhandle. Every week we announce these wins, everybody says, well, I've never heard of this school, Oak Glen.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Oak Glen up in the top part of the, was it Glen Jean up there? Am I thinking right? Is it Follinsby?
Yep.
Follinsby up on the very top of the state. But wow, those guys have just kept it coming this year. They've come out real strong. Last week they sent us a drone video, an aerial flyover of their sections. So,
wow.
We give extra points for creativity. So, those guys, Double-A wasn't the strongest single in Triple-A this week, but Oak Glen did enough to hold on the top spot 2 weeks in a row now.
All right.
And we go to Class A. I'll give you real quick, number 10, Moorfield. Number 9, St. Mary. St. Mary's a great team, so fans got a lot to cheer about. Number 8, Buffalo. Licensed right down the river here, a very good program, and they do quite a bit getting stuff to us. Number 7, Payton City, the Wildcats, on the Ohio River. And number 6, the Pirates of Fayetteville. There's another team, single A, having a great year. They're still undefeated at this point. And then number 5, now you get into these guys up here just fighting out tooth and nail. This is Williamstown, the Maroon Maniacs up there. And they go crazy every week, always get us some good stuff, and that's a section that's a tough place to play there. And then they're one of their rivals at number 4, Magnolias, the Maniacs of Magnolia, the Mag Maniacs. They go by the Mag Assassins up there. Teams off a little bit from typically what they do, but the student section is still strong and some stuff there. Again, they're getting out through the week and supporting the other teams, the Olympic sports, and that means that that counts with us. Number 3, Ritchie County. Rebels up there coming on strong this year. Kind of a new player to our rankings, but having a great year. And then number 2, another new player that really strong this week. Any other week would have been number 1, are the South Harrison Hawks. That's in near Clarksburg, and they're in Harrison County, and that's a program they've just done an awesome job supporting their team both at home and on the road. Number 1 by far, maybe the topped in all classes this week, were the Knights of Tyler, Silver Knights of Tyler Consolidated. These guys just blew it out of the water this week, just crazy stuff, and just all week long. They didn't just show up on Friday. They were there from Monday through. So there you have it, guys. I know you're limited on time, but that's the top 10 in each bracket. We'll have this posted on the website here within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And we really, I will say, while I'm on here, really appreciate having you guys on as partners, working with the scores, the information. We couldn't ask for any better people to work with than Fox Sports 95 here.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate you coming on and saying those kind words. And like you said, those RSN section rankings will be over at rsnsports.com here in about 5 minutes. He's Dana Farrell. He's president of the RSN Sports Network. We appreciate you as always, Dana.
You guys as well. Great talking to you.
All right, Dana Farrell. It's good stuff, man. I thought Hoover was going to be number 1. But you can't beat a drone, though. Once he said there was a drone that went over the crowd, I was like, oh, okay.
How do you compare to that? Yeah, they got drone footage.
They sent him drone footage, so it was like, oh, okay. Can't beat that one. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back real shortly. I'm just going to go over this real quick, the W game and Marshall stuff. Give you my thoughts real quick on those games. Play Gibby, Coach Gibson's remarks and how his defense played against Youngstown State. They stunk. That's all I can say. The defense played horrible. 304-344-9704 to call the show. We're back after this. Brandon Lowe Show, 95 Sports Fox.
Just move on up.
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
That's just like your opinion, man.
Or the top sports stories, locally or nationally, on The Brandon Lowe Show. Call 304-344-9704.
The ground quakes.
You know, every game we play is a big game because we made it a big game.
The hills rumble.
Marshall on 4th down and goal in overtime.
Grows dark.
And it's a touchdown. They break Penn.
Thundering herd approaches.
He makes the catch. It's a touchdown for the Herd, and Marshall takes the lead.
The Herd takes on MacFo Akron Saturday, September 17th at Joan C. Edwards Stadium. Kickoff is at noon. Pre-game coverage starts at 10 right here on the Thundering Herd IMG Sports Network.
It's Jason Smith. If it's almost a sport, we've got it here.
Let's just face facts right now. San Antonio lost. They lost to Oklahoma City. They'll get help in the draft. Are you confident that this team is going to be a team that can get to the NBA Finals, can get past the Thunder again if Kevin Durant is still there, can get past the Warriors? No. You have to tear it down, and you got to build it up, and it starts with Duncan, it starts with Ginobili.
It's Jason Smith.
Night at 10 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, we only have about 4 minutes, so I'm going to do this really quickly. My thoughts on Marshall and WVU this weekend. Obviously, let's start with Marshall. Chase Litt looked great, 13-16, 309 yards and 6 touchdowns and a half a play. 530 total yards, 418 at the half for the Herd. Morgan State only 111 yards at the half, 222 total. Most of the starters didn't play in the second half for the Herd, which is good. Like I said, for those reserves, that's something I said leading up to this game. If you can get a blowout, you get some of those guys in. This was the most points put up at the half since 2002 for the Herd, when they scored 52 points and shut out Buffalo at halftime. Chase Litton had touchdowns to 5 different wide receivers. The defense played good. Obviously, this wasn't expected to be a true test for the Herd, so we'll have to see what happens with Akron. Of course, we'll have Doug Smock on Wednesday. We'll have probably Steve Cotton on Thursday to break down and lead us up to that Akron game this weekend. All right, WVU, I was frustrated. They got the win, 38-21, 17-point win. The line on the game was 22.5 at Vegas. Skylar Howard did his thing, especially a big third quarter for the Mountaineers. I think conditioning was huge. I think that was the biggest part of this game. Was a hot day. I think WVU just outworked him as far as conditioning goes. Youngstown State got to give it up to him. Bo Pelini has a well-coached team. Tony Gibson, though, his remarks on the defense. It's just a real quick clip here, Nick.
Couldn't tackle. Guys looked lost. We got out-coached, got outplayed. They controlled the line of scrimmage. So everything that we warned them about all week long, it happened. We worked it all week. Have a pretty good quarterback in practice. Giving us the look, Will Greer. That kid's not better than Will. He's a good player. He ran their offense well. But again, it comes down, they out-coached us. They outplayed us. We can't tackle. So guys get 12 opportunities to play this game, and we just gave one away because that's not playing what we did today.
All right, so there's Tony Gibson. You got to agree with him. Allowed 405 yards total of offense. They're going to be number 100 in total defense out of 128 teams. Got to do better at some of that tackling and things of that sort. BYU game will kick off at 3:30. They're off this week, but that will kick off at 3:30. Game will be televised by either ESPN2 or ESPNU. So big game against BYU, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. So good to get that bye week and maybe get some things adjusted to get ready for BYU. All right, let's get to our Let's Get Weird news.
Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
News.
All right, sleeping on the job is never a good idea, especially if you're a crook. Police in Kentucky say they found a man catching some Z's inside of a car after he had broken into it. Police were dispatched to CC Auto Parts and Service in Harrodsburg after police reported that a locked box containing keys had been pried open and several vehicles had been broken into. Responding officers say they discovered Matthew Stewart asleep in the driver's seat of one of them. What an idiot. Officers said he was wearing black gloves and a mask. Stewart now faces a number of charges, including theft. I think it's funny he had gloves and a mask.
Yeah, he wore the mask. He was like that, he had that much preparation, like gloves, mask, fall asleep.
Yeah, to sleep right here. That mask doesn't necessarily do its effect if you're asleep on the couch and the police come in. All right, that's
Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
News.
All right, that does it for us. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Should have Mitch Bingle on the show, and who knows? Somebody else may surprise and stop by the show as well. You guys have been wonderful. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy this nice, beautiful weather. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night from the Brandon Lowe Show, 95 to Sports Fox.
Why don't you purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka?
Good. In your face, Charlie Murphy. Good. Shoot the J. Shoot it! Shoot it! Shoot it! Shoot it! In your face, Charlie Murphy. Good. 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 He was crossing cat. Shoot the J. Computer blue. Darling Picky. He was crossing cat.
The Brandon Lowe Show, weekday evenings at 5 on WBES AM 950, Charleston.